I almost didn't make this video because I just feel like it's just another negative thing going on. But it's important to know because we should be talking about why some things are necessary, important, and why they provide value. And what just recently happened, let's talk about this article first, was there were about 500,000 homeowners that got together and did a class action lawsuit. And the basis of the lawsuit was towards brokerages, big brokerages. And they were basically saying that brokerages are conspiring to keep commissions high around the 5 to 6% mark. And the whole thing behind it was about why are the sellers paying for the buyer's agent fees? I want to talk about that. Let's get into it further. Well, first, actually, the verdict was they actually won that case. They won that lawsuit, and they're pouring out $1.8 billion from a lot of the top brokerages, and they're already filing another lawsuit. A few things I want to touch on about this, but first thing, let's talk about when a seller is putting the commission that they would pay a buyer's agent to bring a buyer to their house. Think about how that incentivizes a wide range of professional agents, buyer's agents, to tell their buyers, hey, look at this house, and bring that buyer from this large market specifically to your house and potentially get you multiple buyer's agents doing that to get the most amount of money for your house. That would be the first thing I think about. Here's the alternative. If a seller is not going to be paying a buyer's agent to bring a buyer to their house, that would leave the buyer to pay for the commission. They would have to pay for an agent. But what if they can't afford one of the largest purchases of their house, and on top of that to hire an agent to do it? What would be the alternative? Them purchasing a home without a professional to help guide them through. The agents, real estate agents, get such a bad name for really a lot of what they do, especially when it comes to the biggest transactions most people do in their entire lives. When it comes to documentation, contracts, advice, negotiations. So what would be the alternative is either you can't afford it because you have to pay for the commission, which you're already paying for a house. So you're just going to be purchasing it blindly without the full knowledge on how to really do that, on the guidance on how to do that. I have one more topic to talk about. I could talk about this for so long because there's so many different points and holes in the argument of the current compensation structure. And I don't say this as a realtor. I say this as like someone who understands the industry and the back end of it and why it makes sense. But let me go over one last thing. The sellers have so many options on how they could sell their home. There's discount brokers who, if you wanted to, you could have someone sign it for 1%. You probably won't get as much marketing and exposure and hard work from a realtor if they're only doing 1% versus the other end, because we do have back ends and fees that we have to pay. But the point is, there's discount brokers. You could put it on Zillow for sale for yourself without hiring anyone. There's even flat fees you could pay to certain companies to put it on the MLS, let's say for like $350, and do it yourself. The reason that a lot of people, and I think it was a large number, don't quote me on it, but it had to be over 95%, 99% around of people who decided to go with realtors instead of doing it on their own like that, is there's actually statistics on the numbers for this. And I think the NAR did a report, and about most for sale by owners compared to doing it with realtors make about 35% less on their home. And it just ties into it blows my mind that this lawsuit was actually passed and won when there's other options and it's not fixed. And actually, they were saying that the whole point was that there was a conspiracy behind the brokerages and the large corporations keeping it inflated, but they didn't find any documentation showing that they were colluding and making that a thing, which just blows my mind without 100% proof behind that. What are your thoughts? I'm curious. I was about to press end, but I want to hear your thoughts. Comment below. I want to see what other people are thinking about this.